Oh, crap. You know what? I've been sitting here kind of talking to myself as I was sharing the stream on my other channels. So I actually, in my very, very first live stream on Big Discussions 76 Sports, I had BGS over, and I think it was my first time using StreamYard. And I didn't put myself in the stream. So I was literally sitting there in the backstage talking to myself. Um, and I saw BGS show up a couple of times, and it didn't occur to me that I have to be in the stream in order for people to see me, in order for YouTube to see me and hear me. So I was just backstage sharing this on my other channels. So there's a whole bunch of dead space in the beginning of the playback for this video. Oh well. Let me see who's here in the comment section. Extended clips, what's going on? Yeah, I just told you what happened. I didn't add myself into the stream, but here I am. Okay, so let me pull up the logo for this channel for marketing purposes. Extended clips, I appreciate your support, bro. Whether it's here on YouTube or on Facebook, I appreciate it. Let's see. Things have been quiet over here on Big Discussion 76 Entertainment and Media. I have a bunch of different things going on right now. Got the day job. I'm steadily loading, publishing content for my customer on my first blog, and I'm finishing up making some key revisions to my book project. So things have been a little quiet over here, but I decided to come over and do something really quick, discussing my book project. So media can be movies, it could be TV shows, it could be music, it could be literature, it could be anything. And in this case, it's writing. And I'm in a season now where I want to start marketing the project. So the marketing aspect of this is now in full swing. I'm looking for my logo here that my brother made up. Just give me a second. I know it's in here. Extended clips. I hope you're having a good day today. I hope the weather's good wherever you are. We have a big snowstorm coming here to the East Coast and the DMV. Well, we're gonna go with this one. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76, Entertainment and Media. First of all, please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to the channel. This is my smallest channel, so if you're watching this on the playback and you want to throw something in the tip jar, that information is below. Also, please consider joining the Big Words LLC newsletter. So, guys, I just wanted to do a very quick stream on something from my book project. Again, books, essays, poems, those are all media. So those all fall under the purview of this channel. And I actually thought about that when I set this channel up. So here we go. So a good number of you know that I've been working on a book project called The Engineers, a Western New York Basketball Story. Right now I'm polishing it up. I need to find an editor, and I think I'm going to self-publish it. And then we'll see what happens. We'll see if people support it. We'll see if people buy it. Whenever you create something, The first part is conceiving of the idea. Then you have to flesh the idea out and bring it to fruition. And then you see how people react to it. Do they support it? Do they buy it? Or will it just sit? Will copies of it sit in a warehouse somewhere? You never know until you do it. But I've created I've created promotional materials for it over on my writer's blog. Extended clips, you know what this is. Over on my writer's blog, Big Words Authors, I've created an overview page of it. So anyone who's interested in reading about it and learning what it's about, you can go over to that overview page and take a look. I was very meticulous about giving a nice overview of parts 1 and 2 of the book, so 2 parts. And then below that, I listed out the majority of the promotional materials, mostly essays, but some videos as well that I've created to let people know about this project and what it's about. So promotional / teaser pieces, all of that is on this page right here. And that's in the description box below in case you want to go take a look. So I'm going to just run over the 3 most recent promotional essays that I've published on Big Words Authors. I have about 9 or 10 more that I'm going to publish monthly over the next year as I put this thing through editing. But the last 3, or should I say the first 3? These are the first 3. The first one is a tribute to a gentleman named Kevin Roberson. My research for this book, well, I won the Kevin Roberson Award as a senior in high school. I didn't really understand why. He was a notable basketball player at Hutch-Tech High School who went on to play at the University of Vermont. Those who knew him said that he could have made it to the league, to the NBA, but he died tragically in a car accident my junior year. So I didn't know who this guy was, but in my research of all the interviews I did, his name kept coming up over and over and over again. So I wanted to write an essay just on him to get this thing started. So that's Kevin Roberson. That's in the description box below. I wrote an essay on the Yale Cup. The Yale Cup was the league, the city league we played in Buffalo. So this is more so kind of setting the story world. Every story, whether it's fiction or creative nonfiction, it takes place somewhere. My story takes place in the city of Buffalo. And in section 6, maybe I'll explain what that is in another video. It's explained in the essay. The essay is below this stream. But it takes place in the Yale Cup, a 14-team basketball league comprised of schools within the Buffalo public school system. And it was a poor league. And it was a renegade league. The teams weren't known for playing defense. They played a racehorse style of basketball. Athletics and quickness and strength were emphasized, not necessarily the fundamentals. And it was a time when the city of Buffalo was in a bit of an economic trough, and it was a poor school system and a poor league. So that's what this essay is about. It's about the Yale Cup itself, and to some degree, it's about some of the suburban schools and some of the private schools in the city of Buffalo. So this sets the story world. By the way, for those of you who don't know, one of the private schools A very, very legendary Duke basketball player attended a private school in in the city of Buffalo. That would be Christian Laettner. Christian Laettner is from Western New York. Um, Bob Lanier is from Buffalo. Trying to think. I don't know if anyone has heard of Trevor Ruffin. Trevor Ruffin played in the Yale Cup. Cliff Robinson. Cliff Robinson played at Riverside, went to UConn, and then played in the NBA for about 19 years. So that's our City League, the Yale Cup. And this third promotional essay um, focused on the 1990-91 Hutch-Tech boys basketball team, the varsity team. He's probably not watching this, but Tampa Supreme, that's the wrong one. Hold on. There it is. Yeah. So this essay is a look back at the 1990-91 Hutch Tech boys varsity basketball team, and it's entitled "An Inspiration for My Life and My Story." So these guys are arguably the basis for my story, because when I got to Hutch Tech as a freshman, I saw these guys win our city title, our city league championship, the Yale Cup, and then they won the sectional, and they were one game away from going out to the Final Four, the Class B Final Four in Glens Falls. But the point is, because Tampa Supreme asked me, "Which one are you?" What happened was I saw this team play, and actually I started reading about the players on this team um, before I got to the high school, because my brother Amal, shout out to my brother Amal went to Hutch Tech High School. So my brother is 2 years older than me. So he would bring his yearbooks home, and I'd flip through the yearbooks, and I saw a lot of these guys as they grew as a basketball team. And when I got there, they won our city title, and then they won the sectional. So, the story starts with me seeing these guys and wanting to be like these guys, and that's so a quest pretty much starts where I'm learning to play basketball and I'm aspiring to be like these guys. And a quest starts, an adventure starts, um, where I attempt to be like these guys and like this team, but life happens. It turns out to be a lot harder than it looks. And I'll just say that I end up learning my own set of lessons about life and about success and about failure, um, which I take with me into adulthood, through college, through graduate school, and into the adult world. But this essay is in the description box below, in case you want to read it as well. So a common thread throughout this entire thing, the promotional essays, um, the book project itself, a common thread is one character, and that character is named Dr. Kenneth Leon Jones, or Coach Jones. Hey, Corinne, I see you stopping through. No Buffalo Bills Steelers smack today, please. I'm just joking, Corinne. You can talk smack if you want to. So a key character in this story is this gentleman. That's Coach Ken Jones. That's the late Dr. Kenneth Leon Jones. So one of the other phys ed teachers at our school called him Dr. Jones. I never called him Dr. Jones. I called him Coach Jones. But Coach Jones was the coach of that sectional championship team and that city championship team, and he took over the basketball program, and he established a program, and he established a culture, and he established a way of playing the game at the school, which was different than what most kids in our league were used to. Um, when I got to the school, I was very much a project in the athletics context. For those of you who don't know what a project is a kid with potential who wants to play, but who's very unpolished. So I wanted to play, but for numerous reasons, which I describe in the book, one of them is um, not a lot of men being around in my home ecosystem. Um, by the time I got to high school, I was very unpolished. But he saw something in me in terms of temperament and in terms of values, and he saw fit to give me a roster spot my sophomore year. And I'll just say that he became a mentor. He became kind of like a grandfatherly figure. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'll say about that right now. But I dropped a video on Coach Jones on my Big Discussions 76 Sports channel. So that's in the description box. It's about 50 minutes long. If you watch that video, this will kind of make a little more sense as to why he's a key figure in the book and why I gave him the special acknowledgement right here on this overview page for the book. He's more than a coach. He also wanted to teach us about life, and he wanted to see us become better people. So he told us things every day at practice like this. He told us things like, your attitude determines your altitude. Success breeds confidence, and confidence breeds success. You have to be good to be lucky, and lucky to be good. Basketball is our game, and yours can be the same. That was on the brochure for his basketball camp because he had a basketball camp. This one I didn't learn until his sons shared it with me at his funeral service. It reads as be like a duck, calm on the surface, but pedaling like hell underneath. And then his sons told me about this one as well. Basketball is a game of fun. The better you become, the more fun it is. So there was a huge character development component to the Hutch Tech boys basketball program. And so um, I'll just jump ahead and say that my journey took a lot of twists and turns, and it didn't end quite the way that I envisioned when I started the journey. So the journey is very much, it's an up and down thing with peaks and valleys and some heartbreak um, and disappointment. But I think one of the keys to life is, how do you take those disappointments and how do you take those adverse experiences and how do you use those to make you better? How do you use those going forward? And those kinds of things. So we reconnected, me and Coach Jones and his wife. I think maybe the last time we verbally spoke might have been the mid 1990s. And after that time, I went to college, I went to graduate school, I started my federal science career. And then I decided, you know what? I want to write this book project. I want to do this. I've always dreamed about this. But I need to interview other people. I need to talk to other people who are there to get their points of view on that time and what happened to our basketball program at Hutch Tech. So fate would have it. Someone at my mother's church in Buffalo, I'll shout him out because he's in the essay, Adonis Coble. Adonis Coble was from my brother's class. And I said, Adonis, I'm working on this, this, and this. And he said, oh, yeah, I have Coach Jones's phone number. So we hadn't spoken for almost 20 years. And I called Coach Jones from one of the conference rooms at my job. And I told him what I was doing. And I told him that I wanted to come to San Antonio and interview him. And he talked it over with his wife. And they said, sure, come down. So that was my first time going to Texas. So I fly down to San Antonio, Texas, and we reconnect after 20 years. And we catch up, and I interview him. Um, I'll share that he developed Parkinson's disease, and for a little while, he was able to beat it, and he was beating it. He looked about the same, a little bit older. He had two replaced knees at that time, but he was still moving around. He was still stretching and going to the gym, and he was playing basketball in his old timers league. So he was still relatively active at that time. So the last night I was there, I think I stayed 3 nights in San Antonio, and they, he and his wife, Mrs. Jones, they said, okay, you could stay here if you'd like, so that you don't have to pay for another night at the hotel. So I said, okay, well, I'll crash in your guest bedroom, and I'll get up really early and go to the airport. So it turns out that in his retirement, Coach Jones had developed a love for poetry. So he started writing poetry. So I'm asleep in their house, thinking about this whole thing. It's all sinking in that I actually reconnected with him and I interviewed him. My only regret about the interview is that I didn't have a voice recorder. So I was writing down notes, and I took a couple of pictures, but I didn't get a voice recorder until later. So I'm laying in their guest bedroom, thinking about getting to the airport, and I hear something out in the house. I hear someone moving around, and I said, you know what? He's older. Older people, they get up early. They don't sleep like younger people, so he's probably just up doing things. So I get up probably about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I think I had a noon flight, and I get up, and he hands me this poem that I'm going to read for you guys. And the poem is called "What a Guy." Yeah, okay. So before I read this poem, I'm not reading this poem as a way to self-aggrandize or to say, "Hey, world, look at me." I'm not doing that. But I think what I'm trying to communicate for the book project is that for many athletes, there's a bond that forms between player and coach. A lot of coaches become father figures. A lot of coaches are mentors, and those bonds last oftentimes until we die, until someone dies. And I'm thinking about Buddy Ryan. Buddy Ryan was the defensive coordinator for the '85 Chicago Bears, and then later he was the head coach for the Randall Cunningham Philadelphia Eagles, and then he was the defensive coordinator for the Warren Moon Houston Oilers. But when you watch the Buddy Ryan documentary, you can see that he formed a bond with Samurai Mike Singletary. And you can see Mike Singletary spending time with Buddy Ryan in Buddy Ryan's last days. So you can see Mike Singletary pushing Buddy around in his wheelchair and vice versa. So the bond between player and coach is very, very significant. So he wrote this poem about me. I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to shut this stream down. I can hear my brother saying, "You waited 28 minutes to read us the poem. You talk too much." So this is the poem that Coach Jones wrote about me on my first visit to San Antonio. Just remember, keep this in context. The bond between player and coach. And I'm going to put it up here so you guys can see it. It's called "What a Guy." Anwar Dunbar is a thoughtful man. He is an intelligent individual who kept his eye on the ball and is the biggest winner of all. He turned a high school disappointment into a desired state of grace which gives him a peace of mind in the big human race. Congratulations on all your accomplishments. Thank you for helping me to understand the situation. Coach Jones, October 2nd, 2012. So the other significant thing about this is that I didn't realize that, yeah, I've been working on this book for about 10 years. Some authors, especially rookie authors, the writing projects can take that long, but the fact that he dated this when he did, that reminds me of how long I've been working on this thing and the time I've spent bringing this thing to fruition. I think it's going to be a good 2-part book. I think it'll be well worth the read. And I think that in addition to teaching and discussing learning the great game of basketball, is going to be a nice narrative story about life and about what happens in life and what can happen sometimes when you set out to achieve a goal. Sometimes there are victories, sometimes there are losses, and oftentimes there are unforeseen adversities. So that was the poem. That was the poem that Coach Jones wrote for me. I'm going to wrap this stream up. Remember, those materials regarding the book project, the overview page, and the first 3 promotional essays, in addition to my video about Coach Jones, those are all in the description box below if you want to watch those. If you watch the Coach Jones video, it took a while for me to shoot it. No, it didn't take me long to shoot that video. I shot that video, at least my portion of it, 4th of July weekend of 2021. But then just editing it, adding the pictures to it, adding excerpts from the interviews I did with former teammates and former players from the Hutch-Tech basketball program, putting the entire video together took about 6 months, especially with all the Michigan football content that I was generating and all the other stuff I was doing on my other channels. It took about 6 months for that video to get pushed through to completion. That was 6 months of, working on the book, working my business on the blogging side. So there were just a ton of things going on. So if you guys watch that, just keep that in mind. Most everyone is happy with it. It was my mother who suggested putting some music under it, so I did. But I'm proud of that, and I think it captures the essence of this poem. It helps you see why he wrote this poem for me, and it talks about it starts to communicate the bond between player and coach. And before I wrap up, I will say this. I think in extended clips, and Kareem, thank you for humoring me here. What I've learned is that when you're a writer telling a real life story involving people, part of your challenge is being fair to everyone. So not everyone is going to like that I'm writing the story and that I'm turning this into a book. Not everyone's going to like that. Not everyone agreed to be interviewed. Those names have been changed. Coach Jones had his critics. I promoted this essay on my Facebook page earlier this week. And one of the first comments someone wrote on my Facebook page, extended clips, we're Facebook friends, so you can go look for yourself. One of the first comments someone in particular left was, Ken Jones was not a hero. So when you're working on something like this about real people and real world events, there are going to be other people who feel some kind of way about it. There are other people who will feel slighted because they feel like, well, this person is getting too much credit. This person wasn't all that. That team wasn't all that. We were better than them. Why are you spending so much time talking about this person? You should be talking about this person. So you have to be fair when you're portraying people and you're um, describing events of the past. You have to remember that people are human. You have to remember that um, people may have been going through their own things and their own problems at that time. At that time, we were high school kids, so certain kids were still maturing and still developing into who they were going to be. Um, and when you're a writer, it's important to be fair and balanced when you're recounting historical events, and that's why when people write books about President Obama or President Clinton or the Bushes, it's very, very important that that writer is balanced and tries to be as objective as possible. So that's just something this whole process has taught me. And it's something I'm going to try to do as I finish up all the edits, because some people are going to feel some kind of way about this project. Some people will be happy for it. So it's going to be a mixed bag. Anyway, I've rambled for about 36 minutes. I've got the two of you here watching. Should I open this up? Should I open this up or close it down? I think I'll just go ahead and shut it down. I know that Edward is on, so a bunch of folks are over there. But but I realize when you're one of the reasons I came to YouTube was to build an audience for this. So my audience for this may not entirely be the Manosphere folks. So like my sports channel, for example, those are not. I think the bulk of those are not Manosphere folks. Um, so I know I'm saying that to say I know that a bunch of Edward Anderson was on when I started this. I know a bunch of eyeballs were over there looking at whatever it was he was talking about. Edward makes compelling content, so um, he's always going to have that audience. But anyway, I'm going to shut this down. Extended clips and Kareem, thank you for hanging out for these 37 minutes. I appreciate your support. Always, if you're watching on the playback, please like, share, and subscribe. Please consider joining the Big Words LLC newsletter. The link to that is below in the description box. And I think that's it. Everyone, stay safe out there. If you're in one of the East Coast cities, get supplies, stay warm, get some soup, firewood, whatever you need to stay warm. There's supposed to be a big winter bomb. I think they called it a winter bomb approaching the East Coast. So everyone, with that, as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Oh, by the way, I didn't make this announcement at the beginning. Sometimes when you're live streaming, you forget things or you misspeak. So I'm going to talk about the book from a more literary context over here, like I did tonight. I'm going to probably talk about the more hardcore sports related stuff, aspects of it over on the sports channel. And I think that there are parts of this that apply to the messaging over on my original channel. So so this book, there are lots of manhood messages in the book. There are The importance of mentors is discussed in this book. Social economics are discussed in this book. Um, the trials and tribulations of coming of age as a young Black boy are discussed in this book. The fact that um, there are things that my mother by herself could not teach me and could not help me out in relation to this journey. That's a part of this story. So there are bits and pieces of this story I'm gonna talk about on every channel. But um, shoot, there's even a part of this that I'll talk about on my science channel, because what I learned when I went through graduate school was that science is a part of science is competition. So there are bits and pieces of this I'm going to cover on all my channels. Here, I'm going to talk about it from a more a literary context and the actual book itself. And on the sports channel, I'll talk about the real hardcore sports parts of it that maybe only those who competed will understand. And then, I'll talk about the more life parts, the more manhood parts, the more coming of age parts on my original channel. And then anything I see pertinent, anything I see that's pertinent to discuss on my science channel, I'll do that as well. Buckeye Alex, thank you for coming through toward the end. I'm about to wrap this up. So everyone, that's it. I'm going to give my poor computer a rest now. So everyone stay safe out there. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye. If you're just tuning in and you want to watch the playback, you're going to be looking at I'll probably go in and see if I can cut it, but you're looking at the background because I didn't put myself in the stream right away as I was sharing it on my other channels. Anyhow, yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.